Hi, this is Coach Kristal Sage, and I'd love to welcome you to the 2018 Detox Renew Reclaim Wellness Challenge. I'm Coach Kristal Sage, and today's special guest is Danielle DeBay. Coach Danielle DeBay. Welcome, Danielle.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So I am super excited. We are talking about foundational love. And so you are a life coach. You have experience with what we're doing here in the Wellness Challenge, the 31-day Wellness Challenge, and the detox as well. And so I wanted you to come on today and just share a little of your backstory.
Yeah, my story obviously starts from childhood, but where it really began for my journey to getting well and starting my inner journey as well as my outer journey was about 4 years ago when I decided to finally quit my job. And I went on a 3-month road trip, and I finally started to really follow my heart and really realize what that meant.
Okay.
And then that kind of gave me a lot of confidence to encourage, do other things. So one of the biggest things was 2 years ago, I drastically changed how I fueled my body. So what I ate, what I was putting in, how I was exercising, all of that stuff. So it really started from that. And what I noticed as a result of doing that specifically is that I started to set up a foundation for who I am and my self-worth and what I was really capable of doing. Before, like, things had been done, like you go through high school, you go through college, and it was just sort of the path, I guess.
Yeah.
And then once, about 2 years ago, once I transitioned and changed all of that, I started to really see where we're sort of lacking with a foundation for who I am and the love that I have for myself and how that really impacts every single thing that I do. So since then, I've decided to become a life coach, and I started my business, and I started another side art business, and things just kept rolling and going from there after I felt like I had that confidence and I built that love.
I love that. So tell me a little bit about the dietary changes that you made at that time.
Yeah, so honestly, all of it goes back to sort of setting the foundation and getting back to the basics.
Okay.
So that's sort of my core belief with health and wellness. And I really think about, like, what did people eat when we didn't have processed food?
I love that. I love that. Okay, so give some examples.
Yeah, so it was sort of like, okay, so like I got really excited about like the paleo diet, and that's really what interested me, but it wasn't about the diet itself. It was more about the objection behind it. So what are we really trying to accomplish as a result of eating this way? And what I did is I took it back, and it was like, let's get primal, essentially.
So because that's like the caveman diet, right?
Yeah, but it's interpreted a little bit differently depending on who you ask and what it's for. So, it got a lot of steam because of CrossFit, and it was building muscle and creating this idea that, it's a lot of protein and you're just building muscle, and it's like manly man kind of a diet, instead of the way that I see it. It's really just, what did nature naturally give us? What did Mother Earth provide for us? Because that's all we need. The same way like that flowers need the soil and the sun, we need what is already provided for us.
Something not prepackaged.
Right. Something not prepackaged, and something that comes from natural soil. So no pesticides, no chemical filled dirt that is just getting reprocessed all the time. So that's also part of the not eating processed food and really going back to the basics. It's like, if I had to provide for myself, if I were in a state where I didn't have processed food around me or a grocery store to go to, I would have to farm my own vegetables, my own fruit, and have cattle and chickens and pigs around. And that's kind of where I adopted my eating habits from.
So what did you find? Did you find that you were still eating the standard 3 meals a day, or once you changed to a whole food diet, did that the amount of food that you ate in a day, did that change as well?
Well, before deciding to change my eating habits to this, I had done an eating program where it promoted eating 6 small meals per day.
Yeah.
So it was a consistent basis. And what that really did was it leveled out blood sugar levels. And it makes so much sense to be able to do that, especially when you have sugar and carbs consistently in your diet. But I cut those out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I started eating 6 meals a day
Uh-huh.
just to keep that going.
Okay.
But recently I've actually changed to intermittent fasting.
Okay.
And that's more because of what it does for my brain and my creativity
Mm-hmm.
and what the output is as a result. Because what was still happening, even though I was eating whole foods and I make all of my food, there are still parts of the day where I would get tired
Mm-hmm.
around 3 o'clock.
Okay.
And when I changed to, and it was really right after I would eat. So when I changed to intermittent fasting, I eat around 11 o'clock. And then by 3 o'clock, I'm not tired. I just need a snack and I don't really feel the need to fall asleep.
Beautiful. I love that. I absolutely love it. So I want you to give us a view of what a standard meal looks for you. Give us like what did a past like in dinner look like for you, dinner plate look like for you versus what the present dinner plate looks like for you.
Yeah. So, in the past, I have to say, because I'm all about easy meals, it
Yeah.
was really like, let's do some pasta
Mhm.
and throw in a meat because that's what my boyfriend likes. Like, we always have a meat.
Okay.
And that was about it. It was all about flavor
Mm,
and what was easy rather than really a focus on what was going in.
yeah.
And so now my meals are actually still really easy because I
Mhm.
still wanted to make sure I incorporated that. But
Right.
now it has 2 to 3 times more vegetables in every single meal.
That's
So
beautiful.
even for breakfast, when most of us are eating sweets, I'm always eating a vegetable, whether it's spinach to go with my eggs, or having a green smoothie, or kale, or
Yeah.
anything. Just I'm always incorporating a vegetable,
Uh-huh.
because that's a huge part of it. So you need the fiber, you need all of the nutrients that we
Mhm.
get from the green vegetables. There's so much in those that I
Yeah.
make sure to incorporate that. So, like, one of my favorite dishes
Mhm.
that I make, it's sort of like my take on a taco skillet. It has, you can do, either pasture raised ground beef, or you could do ground turkey or ground chicken. And I mix that with zucchini. And I also lay that on top of a bed of spinach.
I
So
love
it's
it.
almost like a taco skillet salad. And it's easy, it's quick. I love it.
I'm coming to your house for dinner because that sounds absolutely delicious.
I
And
would
while
love
you
to
were
have you.
talking, I was like cracking up because I know that's like one of the staples around my house is the eggs and spinach for breakfast.
Mhm.
It's fantastic, and it's amazing how when we begin to eat whole foods, our bodies actually crave that. The vegetables, they actually crave that. So for some people, they're going, "What? You eat vegetables for breakfast? That's like unheard of." I
Mhm.
think it's interesting how the mentality changes around what we should be eating at
Right.
what times a day, right?
Yes, I think that was huge. And I definitely thought that way before. It was like,
Mhm.
oh, breakfast. Oh, let's get some pancakes. Let's
Right.
get a pastry, any of those. And now, even if I go out to eat breakfast, it always comes with potatoes, and potatoes are
Mhm.
heavy. And if I'm not doing any exercises, I always opt for a side salad instead. And
Mhm.
it does seem weird because people are like, isn't a salad for lunch? And I say, no, salad is for always.
That's right. Yeah, that's beautiful. I love it. And so the difference between how you feel today, you mentioned some things like you're feeling more energetic with this new diet, or I don't like to call it a diet, actually.
It's
I
not, yeah.
despise the term diet. I like to think of it as just a way of life. Diet
Yeah.
seems so temporary, right? Like,
Right. Well, we've gotten away from the actual definition of diet, and diet literally means what you eat,
mm-hmm.
and we take it as a period of time rather
Exactly.
than what we eat. So yes, it's a lifestyle shift. It's a lifestyle choice
Yes.
that this is how I eat. So yeah, really what it did, I mean, honestly, within 1 month
Mm-hmm.
is when I noticed the difference in energy, moods, emotions. So, I think women get a bad rap that we are emotional and moody. But when, you start from the inside out and
Mm-hmm.
you level off, like I said, like your blood sugar. So if you're eating specific types of food, so your blood sugar's not going up and down like a roller coaster, it avoids being emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have to also get that stigma on us, but it also allowed me to be extremely level-headed about everything.
Right.
So there's not, the extra sugar that's allowing me to be overly anxious and ambitious for something that's coming up. I can be exactly what I need to be at this moment because my body is fully satisfied and it's
Yeah.
not craving other things.
I love that. Talk to me a little bit about when you decided to make this transition in your diet. I said the word again. When you decided to make this transition in your lifestyle, what were did you have support around you?
I mean, yes and no. Like nobody ever said, I mean, I'm sure there were times where somebody said, isn't it hard to figure out what to eat? I actually had somebody say one time, oh, that must be nice for you to cut out processed foods, but not everyone can do that.
Oh,
And my immediate reaction was, of course you can. It's
yeah,
just a choice.
it is 100% a choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
But
you know what else I get a lot is oh, well, they feel like if they're just eating whole foods or vegetables, then they're limited. Like I can
right.
only eat this or that.
No. Yeah. It's totally limitless in my opinion because
Yeah.
there's so many combinations and so many different ways and you get super creative with what you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just, like anything, people get used to things and it's hard to change in that moment unless you decide you really want to. So it comes from the idea that you're telling me how I should eat. So now I have resistance because I'm being told. Instead of like really what I did is I did research. And one of the best things was the book that I read was The Omnivore's Dilemma. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a beautiful picture into how messed up our food system really is.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that's agriculture or whether that's politics within agriculture
Mm-hmm.
and where our
Mm-hmm.
food is really coming from. And that book really opened my eyes to what's going on and what I won't allow anymore to go into my body.
I
And
love
that's
it.
where that change is very easy to happen when you get a better understanding of what's behind all of it. So it's not, oh, you can't eat this because it's sugar and because it's this.
Yeah.
It's you shouldn't eat this because of what's happening to it. It's going through all of this processing
Yeah.
that your body doesn't actually know what to do with it anymore. It's foreign. It's putting toxins into your body.
I just love it. I love it. And as you're speaking, I'm just like, oh, a kindred soul. I just love it because I'm talking to someone that gets it. And it's so true that we have to take responsibility and we have to do the research. A lot of times people believe that if it's in the store, it must be safe because if it wasn't safe, they wouldn't be allowed to sell it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. And I think that's, we put a lot of trust into the government and into, our leaders as we should. They're supposed to be leaders. But at some point we have to question, I would say, everything in order for us to really figure out what we want and what's best for ourselves at any given point.
I love it.
So, and it's complicated, but really it's so simple because like I said, it's really getting back to the basics of if you were on your own and you didn't have, these cities and grocery stores to go to, how would you really be getting your food?
Yeah.
And, you would go out and you would find it and you would make it work that way.
And it would not be the end of the world. You can survive and you would survive, but you have to be you have to be knowledgeable and you have to know these things. So one of the biggest things that I tell people too is just start by planting something in your backyard or on your patio, wherever you can. Because I think once you grow, you have that first sprout and then it blooms, then you realize that, hey, this is something that I 100% can do on my own. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly what, you just said it, on my own. It's taking ownership instead of putting your life in someone else's hands.
Which I absolutely love. And that's 1000% what you coach around, correct?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Completely. And really, like, where it started for me, like I mentioned 2 years ago, is taking control of my life. But in addition to that, it was adding in a level of self-love and self-worth to be able to say that I deserve this for myself.
Yeah.
And I'm going to actually do it for myself. So it takes the self-love and the self-worth in order to get to a sense of ownership and saying, yeah, I'm doing this for myself, because really, who else is going to? I can't rely on everyone else for my own survival.
Right. And you shouldn't. Even if you could, you shouldn't. Right?
No. Yeah.
Yeah. I absolutely love that. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, so I also, as a result of that, knowing that, and because that's really what I've been building for the last 2 years within myself, I created a workbook that's called the 3 R's to Self-Worth. And that I always end up going back to it because that's the foundation for all of it. Like, setting the foundation, not just for eating, but for really anything. It starts with the worth that you have for yourself and believing in that. And I don't like to give it away because I want people to go and get the workbook, but I will tell you what those 3 R's are.
Okay.
Just I want everyone to know.
Okay.
The first one is raising your standards. And that goes, like, since we're talking about wellness, where that really comes from is raising the standard of where your food is coming from.
Yes.
So even if you're going to eat processed food, look at who's making it and where it's coming from. Even when you're getting whole foods, buy local. Don't buy from Chile and from countries that are so far away, because that's also impacting our environment because it has to travel so far. So it's paying attention to that and raising your own standard for what you're going to allow into your body, what you're going to allow others to do for you, and just set a new standard for yourself. And it goes in layers. That's just the first step. And once you reach that standard, it might not be enough for you anymore. And then you raise it again. That's why I say you keep going back to it.
I love that. So for the viewers that are watching right now, if they could give them one small step to begin to make that transition in their life today, what's your tip for that?
So my number one tip always is cut out processed food, but some people find that extremely difficult.
Okay.
So if you feel like that's a struggle for you to just cut out processed food, which will change your life immensely, look at the grocery store. I think that's the first thing. So the way that the grocery store is laid out is that everything that's typically good for you is on the outside. So you walk in and there's your produce on the right side, on the side, and you walk through and you go through your meat department and your seafood department, the bakery, the dairy aisle. Everything in the middle is all the stuff that wasn't actually made by nature. So if you feel like just cutting out processed food is really difficult, just stick to the outer edges and look at how that grocery store is really laid out, because they've made it easy for you to go to the middle and go to the center of where all of those things are, but the good stuff's all on the outer perimeter.
And I think one of the things that came up for me as you were saying that was, the things that we can actually pronounce are on the outside, and all the things that we pretty much are not familiar with and can't pronounce are definitely on the chemicals are definitely in the inside, like you said. So
Right.
I love that.
And I think that's it too. Like, so there was, there's a weight loss element to when I started eating whole, of not putting that in my body. But the key was, like you said, looking at the ingredients. Can you pronounce all of them? And can you tell me what those are when you can pronounce it?
Yes.
And if you can't, then you probably shouldn't be eating it.
Absolutely. I think it's a beautiful rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I just want to, Danielle, I just want to thank you so much. I love this girl so much, guys. And I want you to make sure that you check out her website at danielledebay.com. And make sure you go, and they can actually go there and get the 3 R's. Yes, they can download that there. Okay.
Yep, they can get the 3 R's to self-worth right there on the homepage.
I love it. Well, as always, guys, I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Love and light. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Namaste.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know, I can't wait to do this again. Thank you so much.